All right.
Welcome in to the Two Timers.
Yeah, if we had a good little audio dub there. What's up, boys?
What's up? A little bit of a new intro, courtesy of one Benjamin Hinders.
Oh, solid.
That was great. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. Well, we're back. Week 1 in the books. Some victories, some losses, which we'll get into. We'll talk about. I think it was a rather successful week for most of us, so we're feeling pretty good at the moment. But without getting too wrapped up into the weeds, let's go. Whoops, there we go on my side. Straight into recap. So I'll hand it over to you, Maresca.
Solid first week, boys. I think we're all happy, right?
We are.
Some good wins, some good losses here. But no, we'll get into the recaps. Starting out with one of the two-timers, Clark. You got to be pretty happy with the output of your team overall. I think it's time for an overreaction, though. The two-timer's back. The OG two-timer is back. But yeah, you're. I mean, if you look at Clark's team across the board, pretty much everyone put up points. I mean, even Brock Bowers putting up 8 points. It's pretty solid for a tight end. We'll get into that later, but tight ends didn't really put up many numbers. Ben's team on the other team, I think, on the other hand, was put up the most points in a loss, so that kind of sucks. But kind of hurts when you have 3.5 points across the board from 3 receivers on your team. And I think there's some controversy with Marvin Harrison not getting some targets and things like that. But the late Baker pickup put up points, and then his snag of Jordan Mason really helped him. And then we can't forget Jake Moody putting up 26 points for him. So I think with some of his players coming alive, Christian McCaffrey coming back, Ben's in a good spot, but put up some solid points, so he's right there in the thick of the race. So
Did he pick up Baker or did he draft him?
he drafted him. He drafted
him.
Late round pickup.
Yeah,
he drafted him.
Yeah,
he's out.
That was a good draft pick.
Yeah.
Those were our picks for the week. Next one.
Going into this one, I think Dave's texted the group the second closest matchup ever in our league, which is saying something. We've been around for 10 years, so I know it came down to the wire on Monday night, I believe. But yeah, I mean, both not great performances across the board. I mean, each player had some solid players. With David, AJ Brown, he has him back on his team, and then another solid kicker, Aubrey's insane, but put up some high points for him. I think his running backs hurt this week, but there's talk that Jaylen Warren's going to get some more plays as his hamstring gets healthier. So that's good news for him. On Micah's side, AR, good keeper. Pacheco, good keeper. Some of his keepers put up some good points. Even Pickens had a solid week, but the rest of his team kind of let him down, especially in the kicker defense category. And then tight end. I mean, tight end really wasn't a letdown for many people because there really weren't that many points. So if you think about it, like the 5 versus 3, not that big of a difference. But I think Garrett Wilson also is going to break out this year with Rodgers if you watch some of that game. But yeah, I think both these teams, I think, have a lot more potential. But obviously David gets in the win column, which is huge in this league. You need to get wins. You got to get them pretty quick. So sucks for Micah, but once again, same side.
Sensing a little bit of a theme here with some of the picks, you know.
was not aware of that, Ben. I did not know it. Micah traded Aubrey to Davis.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, but Ben beat me to the punch. So it came back to bite Micah in the ass a little bit.
The rare kicker trade. Going into this one, I think Nat was sweating this out a little bit on Monday night with Purdy, but she got enough points from him. She needed 5 and got 10. So all in all, Nat's team across the board, Nico had a good week. Jerome Ford had a good week. But if you look at her team, she really won because of, once again, a kicker and defense. She put up 45 points almost with those 2 players. And then Matt's team has a lot of potential. I think the biggest thing that I take away from this is the Bengals are kind of in shambles right now. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase not practicing until 2 days before. They look terrible, to be honest. And then he had 10, 12 points from a few players, but then tight end Kincaid, he spent a lot of money on Kincaid and he did nothing. But I think exciting to see for him to see Jones have a good week and then Rashi having some of those targets. So I think both of these teams have some also. I think all the teams across the board seem pretty even right now, in my opinion. There's just there's players on the team that can break out, can't break out. So, I think both these teams have potential to move forward, but Nat got the win. It's top 7 right now. So.
Damn it,
We'll switch up on the picks that time. Josh keeps on going a little wayward, but
High speed chase versus Dan. I think Dan was carried by the Redskins, or the Commanders, which is really weird to see. But Jaden Daniels having those 2 late rushing touchdowns gave him a lot of points there. And then his old faithful Mike Evans obviously had 2 receiving touchdowns. He looked as good as ever. So it's crazy. Mike Evans has been a staple in fantasy for so long, continues to be. So, and then Jacobs flashed some potential at the end there. Mostert didn't seem to have much of a role in that offense, and then Puka going down for the next few weeks might hurt Dan over the next 4 or 5 weeks. So we'll see how that plays out. On the other side, Kevin's team, I mean, he spent a lot of money on Tyreek, and that paid off. He got a solid week from Tyreek, and then Kyron and Tony Pollard looked pretty good in Tennessee colors. But big letdown for Mark Andrews. Kind of hurts to see Isaiah Likely putting up a lot of those points and targets coming in. And then his flex just didn't pay off this week. So, I mean, he was close. The match was pretty close, but Kevin's team just didn't live up to expectations this week. So he has a very solid squad. I think our Yahoo ranks him as the best squad in our league. So I think Kev has some potential here, but Dan sneaks out the win.
What do you guys think about Kevin's name? Kind of.
I legitimately thought when I saw High Speed Chase when I was looking through the recaps that it was Matt. Actually, on the waiver wire this morning when it was Matt, because Matt has Jamar Chase, correct? So I thought that it was Matt, but I guess it's applicable for Tyreek.
It is applicable.
I actually had the exact same thought, Clark, when I looked at and saw who got Tank, because I put a big bet on him.
Yeah, that's
I thought it was, and then I went onto the app and I was like, oh, it's Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
picked that ahead of
name at the moment.
Yeah, he picked that ahead of Tyreek's arrest.
Well, you are all wrong on this one.
What did Kevin know?
We had a lot of faith in Waggy. He let us down.
Let us down, Kevin.
2-timers matchup here.
Oh.
Oops, sorry, that was early, but that's what we did. That's what we chose.
No, solid picks by the 2-timers. The coin was off base, but Josh's team, solid start to the year. Beat his projections by a lot, but I think he's got to be happy. I mean, it's double keeper back system, put up some solid points, and then Cup. I mean, I think that was the big takeaway for me for Josh's squad. I mean, seeing Puka go down now, if Cup can stay healthy, he's going to be a very good fantasy value this year, which sucks for whoever had him. I can't remember who had him last year, but it was a rough year to have Cup last year. So hopefully he stays healthy. And then obviously LA's defense put up a solid game for him against Vegas. So on the other side, we have Hannah. I think she wants to forget this week ever happened. She started very strong Friday night with Saquon Barkley putting up 3 touchdowns and 32 points, but then the rest of her team put up only 53 points. So it's hard to win when the rest of your team's gonna do that. But I think she has some very solid players as well. I mean, Devontae didn't have a great game. DK didn't. She has Evan Ingram, I think he was top 5 fantasy tight end last year. So she has some key pieces. I think outside of Barkley, though, her backs are hurting, especially with Dobbins taking over in LA this past week. But who knows? I mean, if Dobbins goes down, Edwards steps up. So, and she needs to see more out of Lawrence, I think, if she's going to keep starting him. So, but yeah, I think she wants to move on from this week and get to next week. And then I think this is no, there's one more after this, right? The Battle of the Chris's. Pretty happy with my team. Josh Allen, always love having. I had him in my other fantasy league for a few years. Always fun to have him on your team. Jaden Reed put up a monster game for me on Friday, and then I think the big thing for me was Ramondre having a good game because I took him hoping he was going to have a good year, but you don't know with the Patriots, and he could be a one-off week. But my pickups of New Orleans at the end of the waiver wire last week ended up paying off big for me because I got 46 points out of them. So not seeing St. Brown have a horrible week, Zay Flowers not having a great week, some of the guys, Derrick Henry not having great weeks, like some of the key stalwarts for me not having great weeks and still putting up that. I was pretty happy with that. And then I think Jonesy had a very similar experience to Ben. He only had 7.5 points out of 3 receivers. So that really was his downfall this week. The rest of his team, I mean, Mixon had a great game. Montgomery had a great game. His defense, I mean, Stroud was looking good out there. So he has a very solid team if he can get some points out of his wide receivers moving forward. But yeah.
Everyone had faith in Maresco.
Appreciate it.
And our last matchup of the week.
The last matchup of the week, Ryan's team looking solid. He took a play out of my book and took Jackson, Devontae, and Connor and put them on his team for my championship squad. So it's kind of fun to see those guys still putting up points. But his keepers, I think, really are what you have to look at. Kamara putting up 20 points. Chani, I don't even know how you say that name, putting up 20 points. So he started with last year's draft when we were kind of making fun of him, but he snagged some of these players for low value and is having a great start to his year. And then the Connor pickup, it looks like Connor's going to have a big role. If that offense looked awesome, and I think Connor's going to get a lot of touchdowns. So, but across the board, if you look at his team, averaged no one was under 9.1 points. So that's what you love to see in fantasy. And then the Bears look like the Bears. So minus Chicago's defense.
I was going to say, is this a reflection of Mitch's football team or just the Bears as a football team?
Somehow the Bears snuck out the win. Mitch did not have that fortune go his way this week. The defense, I think the Bears defense is good, but who knows? They were playing Will Levis. So, but yeah, I mean, Mitch has put a lot of faith in the Bears. So it's really going to come down to if that offense can click, and that offense did not look good, even though they won. So, but Mahomes didn't have a great game either. That's subpar performance for him. So I think besides the defense, Mitch probably wants to forget this week too. So we'll see how Mitch's team plays out as Williams gets more familiar with the NFL. But yeah, I don't know.
To be fair, you all made the wise choices here. I was tempted by the breakaway that the Bears had to offer. Did not pay off.
Ryan, change your team name.
Oh, Ryan, yeah, he does need to change his team name.
There's a few holdovers from last year.
I think it's just Ryan now.
And Hannah.
Hannah.
But she has Trevor Lawrence, so.
It's true.
Whatever.
It's true. Well, that does bring us to week 1 wrap of our picks. I didn't take out the season total, so you can tell what our totals were. But we'll tally this over the year. Kind of shows how we did. It's individuals selecting teams, doing our league pick'em. Maresco off to a pretty hot start, both in fantasy and in pick'em in our world right now. Which leads us nicely into this impromptu segment we're going to throw together, which I didn't have planned out, so I don't have a great structure for this. But I think it's time to do a little rate the two-timers in terms of rating and contrasting our current fantasy teams. So all 3 of us had pretty solid weeks. I'll pull up our teams on the in the league, and I want to have a little chat with you guys on which team will end up with a consensus 1, 2, 3 between our teams at the end of this little chat. So since Maresco is the reigning champion and also had the highest score, I think we should look at his team first. So let me present here. Here's Maresco's team. Josh, I'll kind of throw it to you first. Does this team scare you? And I think at the end of it, would you trade or swap teams with Maresco right now if you could?
Yeah, I mean, I think my pride wants me to say no, this team doesn't scare me. But, like, I think with that strong outing that he had to start week 1 and some of his, like, top players, like St. Brown, not performing, yeah, I mean, like, I think his roster scares me a bit. Would I switch? No. Like, I like my roster. I like some of the rookies that I grabbed. I'm thinking, like, this year, but also, like, future in terms of that. So I'm comfortable with what I got.
Yeah. I'll chime in here. Maresco, I think your team is solid, but I think that the 50 almost points from New Orleans in form of kicker and defense. And I'm also curious as to your perspective, what do you think Jayden Reed legitimately puts out week to week, let alone, now that Love is out for a little while, maybe we discount that, but do you think Jayden Reed is a 15 plus point scorer most weeks?
I would say around 15. Yeah. I mean, he's the consensus number 1 guy now in the offense. I mean, I know people say they have the 4 receivers, but it's obviously they set up a lot of plays around Reed from a running perspective, from a route perspective, and Love loves throwing to him. So I think it will hurt with Love out, but it also could help because I think Malik Willis is going to have to throw some slants, and that's Reed's thing, and they're going to run more. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But I think Reed is a 15 to 20 point guy. I think he's going to have down weeks and have 5-10 point games, but he's always going to be involved in their offense as long as he's healthy. So he's kind of like, in my perspective, he's a different form of Debo, but like they make a lot of plays for him, kind of like they do in San Fran for Debo. So
I agree with that.
And are you streaming defenses this year, or are you going to stick with New Orleans a little longer?
I don't even have New Orleans on my team anymore.
Oh, well, there you go.
I think kicker, group E, whatever you should call them. I think like I'm gonna string kickers and defenses. That's kind of
sure.
That was what I did the last 2 years too. Ever since I didn't have Tucker, I've stringed kickers too. So
fair enough. Well, quick discussion there. We'll roll over to my team, which was the second most scoring team of the week, and then we'll finish with Josh's. What do you guys think about my team, specifically in contrast to Maresco's now? I guess I'll turn it over, Maresco, to you first.
I mean, obviously, I think your team is pretty solid. It's going to be interesting to see if Diggs can keep that kind of performance up throughout the year. It seems like they kind of have an offense similar to the Packers where they have 3 or 4 receivers that they can go to. But I think having JJ's interesting to me because Sam Darnold looked really good this past week.
Very good.
He can but he's also playing the Giants. So it's also like one of those things. I think this week you'll know more. But I think your backs, White's going to be good and Walker's going to be – if Walker can stay healthy, your team's very good. I think I'm at the point now in fantasy where like I get attached to my team too. So like I wouldn't trade my team for your team right now, but I think your team is solid. I mean, I think you're one of the top teams in the league right now. So we'll see. It's going to all come down to injuries and things like that.
Yeah,
I think Walker and Jefferson are both injury prone. So it's like, can they stay healthy?
Also, just to answer Ben's question or statement here, this is 100% the latter. We will not be doing this when our teams are bad. This is just to scratch each other's backs, given how good our teams all performed week 1. So we'll see. Joshy, what do you think about this one? And then we'll get to your team. We'll wrap this up. This might be a team name change coming in here soon.
I think Clark. I think you're going to level up this year from where you've been the past few years, which is in the basement. So I think you're a middle of the pack team. I like the team. Love my team more. I do have questions about Diggs, and I think Rachaad White, just in terms of his involvement in the offense long term over the course of the season. But yeah, man, I think congratulations. I think you're going to be out of the basement this year. So it's good. I feel like you're actually going somewhere versus the past 3 years you've just been.
Oh, thanks, Josh. Thanks for the backhanded compliments there.
Who's your backup running back besides these guys? Do you have anyone?
I mean, I have the other Tampa Bay running back,
Bucky.
And then I had a lot of keeper heavy picks. So Benson is the 2 back behind Connor, but he's kind of more of a long-term keeper. Same with Wright, which might actually pan out because both Mostert and A-Chain look a little banged up at the moment. But no one that really slots in as like someone you'd feel very comfortable starting. It's more of like situational reaches. And honestly, Keaton Mitchell, once healthy, is fingers crossed, it's pretty explosive. So it could be in there in a bye week. But
depends though. Justice Hill's really kind of solidified himself in that passing role.
Yeah, but that happened last year too. And when Keaton Mitchell was healthy, he absolutely annihilated Justice Hill's touches. So.
Yeah, but will that be the case with a guy coming off a pretty serious injury?
We'll see. It's a bit of a shot in the dark. But we can transition over to Josh's team now. Take a look here. The lowest scoring of the 2-timers this week.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll kind of start things off. Josh, I think your roster is pretty well-rounded. Obviously, I think your backs are probably kind of the cornerstone of what your team will be able to do or won't be able to do. I definitely would not – and we're all probably going to say this – but I would not currently trade my team for your team. All right, we'll move on from this segment in a moment. That's all I'm going to say. I would keep my team over Josh's team, but I think Josh, your team is pretty solid. I think I might like your team more than I like Maresca's team.
It's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think same thing as Clark's. I think Josh has a solid team. I didn't even realize you have Xavier Worthy, so that's got to be kind of fun to have him moving forward. But yeah, I'm not going to trade my team for his, but I think a lot of it comes down to health for Josh too. If Kupp stays healthy, if Kupp doesn't stay healthy, his wide receivers are going to hurt a little bit. But I don't know.
Josh, do you have? Oh, well, I guess we can get to that in a second. But since the chat is clearly enjoying our dissecting of the 3 of our teams, if we had to collectively rank our teams right now, 1, 2, 3, how would you rank them?
I would go with Maresco as 1.
Oh, come on.
Clark is 2, and me is 3.
Okay, fair enough. I think I would do the same, but with myself above Maresco. I guess we'll see. Maresco will let you have the last word here since you're the reigning champ.
I mean, obviously, I like my team the best, so I'm going to put my team the best. I think I'd go me, Clark, Josh. But I think we're all very similar teams, to be honest, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, speaking of teams and kind of what comes up the next few weeks, were you guys surprised by any of the waiver wire moves or additions? Did you consider making or did you make waiver wire moves as well?
I made a couple.
This week?
Yeah, this week.
No,
Josh, what are you talking about? Next week? You're going to make waiver wire moves next week?
I mean, I put a bid in for Bigsby. Just to have I mean, it's so hard to get backs in this league, and it's like if someone gets hurt, it's nice to have the backup. So I went back and forth between 20 and 30, and won with 20 and lost by 5. So it's one of those things.
What went into your
I always
thinking? Because
start
I put in a bid. I put in for bid for Bigsby as well, but I put in like $7 or $8. And obviously, Weggy won for like 25 or something like that.
Yeah, 25.
What was your thinking with going 20?
I thought someone might bid over me. That's why I almost went 30. I always have waiver wire money, so it's like it's kind of what we were talking about. It's like just spend it up front. There wasn't a ton of players out there like last year that like blew up the first week. Maybe there will be a couple in the next couple weeks. So I'm not like super bummed I lost out on Bigsby, but it would just been nice to have another like solid backup because he had a lot of touches. Etienne goes down, there's a potential for him to be a good back. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think 25 is a lot for him, but at the same time, I think that's kind of what the backup running backs go for. So you can get the handcuff. You can't get the handcuff though.
What's the question?
Waiver wire. What's your opinion on the waiver wire right now?
I mean, I love the little bidding, for old Tank Boy. Let's see here. I was looking at this earlier, but I kind of forget. It was. I would say it was a pretty modest though week 1 waiver wire. I don't feel like there was any like huge fab dumps. Nat went hard after Jalen McMillan there. Nobody else bid on that one, so it's $17. But I get the thought. You never know in our league. Yeah, pretty quiet week to be honest with you. Outside of Tank.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll see what happens down the line. The producers were in my ear real quick, by the way. I forgot to mention this at the start of the show, that we have contracted some interest from sponsors. We have a number of different segments that will be sponsored by proprietary, companies or programs. But Josh, I think that you have a message from our sponsor. If you would like to read out the clip. If not, I will.
You could read it out because I put in a request to somebody to create something, but I was told, no, not yet.
You were told, or a producer on the show was told not to create anything.
I don't know. I'm in the dark here.
Okay. Well, we'll start off by showing you the little small preview of things to come. It's just a mock-up, kind of a round 1 of what our sponsorship will look like down the line. But this week's show is brought to you is by Blast Off Rockets. Not performing in the bedroom, feeling grounded in the bedroom. With Blast Off Rockets, you can reach new heights and rediscover your spark. Our advanced formula is designed to help you lift off and enjoy the moments that matter most. Don't let ED keep you earthbound. Fuel your passion and soar with Blast Off Rockets today.
I did not approve of my picture being on there. I did not approve of this message.
Oh, I did not know that was coming this week.
As I said, we're in development. The ad agencies will develop things a little more. We'll have multiple sponsors for different segments, but
do I get paid for that?
Absolutely not.
We'll have our people talk to your people.
I get free sponsorship.
You can get some additional supplements from Blast.
Nice.
Back to the serious business of the show, if you will. We had Fab. Last week's category for Fab was the running back with the most points, which goes to Hannah in the form of Saquon Barkley, the man that the Giants let walk. So Hannah gets $5 a Fab. Sorry, Dave, I don't know if you already gave this to her, but we should have told you this before the waiver wire deadline, but $5 a Fab to Hannah.
Congratulations.
Hey, great job.
And we have not yet put together categories for Fab this week. So I say we do that live on the show real quick, and then we can spin the picker wheel for Fab. What do you guys think? Last week we did straight up most points at every position. What should we do?
I think in honor of kickers, what do we have?
Kicker topics?
Yeah, kicker topics.
Most kicker with most extra points.
Do one with kicker with most 50-yard field goals.
With most 50-yard? We already have longest field goal. Odds
Maybe
are we
get
have
rid
a
of
lot
that
of
one.
kickers tied for most 50-yard field goals.
Yeah, well, we had, what was it, 21 kickers made 21 field goals from 50-plus yards in week 1, the most in NFL history.
All right, we'll put it on.
Most
With
in a single
most
week.
50-plus field goals.
Please put Micah in there.
Oh, yeah, we have to. It's tradition.
Mika.
Maybe one more. Kicker with shortest. I'll figure out how to calculate that one. That'll be a pain. All right, let's see what this wheel decides.
It's going to land on that one, isn't it?
There you go. Kicker with the most extra points will win. So I guess assign kickers appropriately. I think that's all we have in terms of formalized structure for the show. We've done recaps, went over our picks. We've been throwing around the idea of doing some additional segments that are a little bit more league communal, some league-wide pick 'em, stuff like that. But we don't have anything really solidified yet. So hopefully next week we'll come to the board with something and see if y'all in the league want to kind of interact with the two-timers picking stuff throughout the week.
I think it would be fun.
We do need a pick this week, right?
Oh yeah,
we do need a pick this week. That's right. We do have to make picks. Nah, we'll see what happens next week. Let me pull up the matchups.
I thought you were segueing into that.
I should have. This is actually a seamless segue in the sense that it is two-timers. We'll start off with a Josh versus myself matchup, and we'll go Maresco, Josh, me. And I'll grab a coin here.
Zoom in a bit.
Yeah.
Please.
That one probably is good, yeah.
Oh, I'm going first?
Yep, you, then Josh, then me. And we'll go through that way.
How's Josh's projection so high? Oh, Cup went way up. Ooh,
I mean, worth noting that this is what I was projected last week and scored 150 something, and I think Josh was projected like 106, and he scored what, like 120 or 130 something, Josh?
Yeah.
So
121 or something. Yep.
Projections are not accurate as of now.
I am going to go with Josh this week. I just like his matchups better, to be honest.
It's fair. Josh, to you. And I know, Josh, you're writing down picks as well, so take your time.
Yep. I'm going with myself.
All right. I'm going with myself.
Okay.
And then the coin, we'll do queen for Josh, flowers for me. Flowers. Coin goes Clark.
Fuck you, coin.
Coin knows what it's doing. Our next matchup is the narrow margin victory commissioner versus Chris Jones. And Josh, this pick goes to you first.
I'll go with Chris Jones.
Yeah, I'm also. Oh, you're going next. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm actually going to go David. I think that Dave's receivers show up a little bit better this week. Yeah,
you're saying that because you're his brother.
But
maybe. Okay, whatever.
I'm gonna go Chris Jones. I think Chris Jones receivers show up this week.
Queen is Jonesy, Flowers, or Dave? Queen. Coin goes Jonesy. Dan versus Matthew. This is me first. This is a tough one, actually, but I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go Kansas City. I'm betting, or not Kansas City. I'm going Matt. I'm betting that the Kansas City Cincinnati game is a bit of a shootout. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm going to go Mr. Giles as well.
I'll go Giles.
All right, we'll do Queen for Giles and Flowers for Dan. Queen it is. First sweep of the day.
That's bad. That's bad news because we did that against Dan last week.
Yeah.
Yep. This one's going to go to you, Moresco. We got Weggy versus yourself.
I'm gonna go myself. I mean, I always pick myself, but I think this is gonna be a close game.
Go Moresco.
I'm going to go Weggy. I want to see what happens with Moresco's team when there aren't huge spikes from certain people. So I think Weggy's team levels out a bit. We will go Queen for Moresco, Flowers for Weggy. Flowers. Coin goes Weggy. And then we've got Ben versus Mitch. Is this you, Josh?
I'm going to go Ben.
I also will go Ben.
We'll also go Ben.
We'll go Queen, Ben, Flowers, Mitch. Queen it is. Another sweep.
Oh, boy.
Couple of teams looking for their first win. We've got Hannah versus Micah. I believe it's to me first. I am going to go Micah.
I'm gonna ride Micah.
I'll ride Micah.
Micah's in for one heck of an evening. Micah, since you don't trust the coin, I don't know, we're still going to flip it anyway. We'll go Queen, Micah, Roses, or Flowers. Hannah. It's Queen for Micah. Another sweep for Micah.
Wow, that's the most sweeps I've ever seen.
Then our last matchup of the week will be Natalie versus Ryan. The much improved Rookie of the Year, Ryan. Moresco, this is to you first.
I'm gonna go Ryan.
I'll go Ryan.
I'm also going Ryan. Queen, Ryan, Natalie, Flowers. It is Queen. Lots of sweeps today.
They're all gonna have a terrible week, or they're all gonna have a great week.
There's not a lot of differentiation there. Well, there we go. Yeah, next week maybe we'll start incorporating chat's picks. See how they do versus the two timers. You can start recording those.
Be fun. Be a good time.
Well, thanks for taking the time, guys. I think we'll call it a wrap there, unless there's anything else pressing you'd like to address.
No, that's it. Go ahead. Sorry, Chris.
No, I've got nothing. I appreciate the chat's responses and input into our show.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. We'll end it with this. Moresco, when do you think Jordan Love comes back? And do you think the Packers are winning any games while he's away?
I think he comes back the week after next. Like not this week, the following week. And then
Okay, week 3 return.
Do we win this week? I think there's a good chance we can beat the Colts still without him. I think our defense
Fair.
is going to play a lot better, but who knows?
We'll see. Okay, Josh. On that note,